Okay, here we go. We're ready to drop the puck and get things going off the face-off. Miller gets a piece of it and goes to Hadler. Hadler knocked away from him. It bounces around to the red line, picked up on the D and dumped deep by Caton. Puck deep in the Massena zone. Danny Miller racing in after it along with Cieslak. Cieslak gets there first. Centering pass goes right in front of the net, but it's knocked away. Puck goes into the corner. Around the boards it goes. Here's a man in front, but Miller's there to knock it down from Massena. Takes it around behind the net. Poke checked away from him. Puck, here's a man, pass in front, backhand, save made by LaFrance. Puck picked up, banged ahead to the blue line, not out of the zone. Here's another shot, goes in behind the net. And finally it'll be Massena trying to pick it up, and Jacob Whitcup over to Miller. Hadler flips ahead, not out of the zone. It bounces in front of the net, knocked away, back toward the blue line as McQuaid all over Massena to start this game. Here's a pass right in front. LaFrance knocks it away, and Massena's going to finally break it out. Whitcup takes it to the blue line, dumps it to the McQuaid line. It's intercepted by Caton. He loses. Here comes Rogers across the blue line. Short side shot. The save made rebound. And Rogers followed his shot and got a second shot off. And Casamento has to make two saves. Just underway here. We played just over a minute. 13:57 left. No score on the IceHawks custom screen printing scoreboard.
That line of Nunn, Cieslak, and Flanagan, a lot of speed. The wings, Cieslak and Flanagan, good size. Nunn, small, but very, very quick. Thunderous check out there. Fusillo just laid a huge hit on Jeremy Hadler.
Off the face-off. Puck in the circle. Picked up by Trent Thomas in front. Knocked away. Here's a quick shot to the side of the net. Thomas can't get a stick on it. Finally, the puck bounces free. It's picked up by Goodsell, and Goodsell moves it out to center ice. Pass intercepted, but it bounces off a stick into the Massena zone. Horan in after it. He's being forechecked by Goodsell. Goodsell comes up with a puck, flips it on the wing. Oh, nice move there as the puck bounces into the corner. Goodsell centering past side of the net. Raiders are going to come up with it, though, and here comes Evan Labarge. On the headman of Thomas, knocked away from him, dumped right back in as McQuaid will have to get onside. Patrick Horan picks it up, starts out right side of his own net, trying to flip it ahead on the wing to Smith. Smith has it stolen away, but Rogers is there to follow high off the glass. It'll bounce over everybody's head and back in the zone. And the defensive Cieslak picks it up and flips it ahead to the Massena line. Here's the drive. Short side shot, and that goes high over the net, back to the other point, into the corner. Raiders control, and it's picked up by Whitcup. He'll flip it ahead to Cameron, who deflects it to the red line. Intercepted there by Cieslak. Right back in the zone it goes. Whitcup racing in after it. Getting there first is Vernetti. Vernetti has it stolen by Danny Miller. Miller, backhand pass, doesn't clear the zone, bouncing around into the high slot. Quick shot, we say we'll glove it and hold on for the face-off. 12:39 left, no score. We're in the first period. Massena, McQuaid.
Quick shot, Rick Vanetti from the hash marks after the Raiders turned it over at the blue line. That we say LaFrance on his knees, but using that left hand, plucked it just from in under the crossbar. That had the top of the net label.
Eddie Slade out to take the face-off against Vernetti. Off the draw, Raiders control, and around the boards it goes. Here's Ian Maxwell. Off the boards to center ice. Picked up there on the defense by Dan Reed. Reed dumps to the Massena line. It'll roll into the zone. Picked up there by Alan Borden. He'll rip it around the board. Stepping in front of it is Daubert. Daubert has it knocked away. Kyle Cameron picks it up. Trying to move it out of the zone. He couldn't get it free. Now Maxwell with it. He'll dump it ahead out to the red line where it's picked up and dumped right back in the Massena zone. LaFrance has to make the save. Leaves it for his defenseman who clears it down the ice. Will not go far enough for icing as Alex Caton races back, picks it up, turns it to the Massena zone. Ian Maxwell steps in front of that. Bounce pass ahead and out to center ice again. Here comes McQuaid, stood up the blue line by Borden. The puck bouncing around in the neutral zone. Finally, it's Supernall picking it up from Massena. Supernall trying to bounce pass ahead to Jared Lanning. Lanning flips it in the McQuaid zone where it's picked up by Dan Reed. Reed's headman pass out to the neutral zone. Miller's there, fakes the shot, takes it across, gets by one. Here's Miller, knocked off the puck. It bounces up into the wall, and we'll have a face-off with 11:32 left in the first period. No score in the hockey game.
Alan Borden of the Raiders got that speedster Nunn at center on that top line. Brandon Nunn with his head down just at the blue line and gave him a pretty stiff check that put him on his backside. Raiders are looking much more comfortable in this first period than they did last night.
Much more. Okay, Tubolino's line out for Massena. Off the draw, the puck controlled by McQuaid. They come to the Massena line, and in the zone it goes. Flanagan. Flanagan's upended by Whitcup. Is there a call? No call. And the puck bounces free. It's picked up by Sean Petrie. He'll go to Hadler on the other side. Hadler steps by the check, bounces by another check. Nice move by Hadler. He's got a man breaking. Petrie, he's got it to him. Here's Petrie, left wing side, the shot! And he fires it high and wide. Around the boards, Tubolino keeps it in at the point. Flips it to Hadler. Back to Tubolino. Trying to go to Hadler. It's intercepted by Caton. Caton flips on the right wing. It comes in the zone. And around the boards it goes. Here's the shot. We say makes the save. And it bounces back toward the blue line. Here's the shot and the goal. As we say, LaFrance made the save but was out of position. Caton beat him on the left side, hit the post on the way in, and it's 1-0 McQuaid.
Alex Caton from the boards at the top of the circle, but we say he was screened somewhat, and you and I could see the opening at that far side, but he couldn't see the puck because he was screened. Alex Caton ripped a wrist shot from way on the boards and found that far side, and just after the Raiders had a good scoring opportunity when Hadler sent Sean Petrie, and Petrie went hard without the puck, and Jeremy Hadler fed him a nice pass, and down on that left side he got in a little deep, elected to shoot, not return it to Tubolino. But anyway, the Knights getting on the board first here with the goal. Alex Caton, will see who picked up the assist.
So McQuaid scores first, and the Raiders trail 1-0 off the draw. Rogers with the puck off the glass, and right at the blue line there's a battle, went out, came back in, and offsides will be the call. Alex Caton gets the goal. We haven't heard any official on it yet.
That was just after Weesade made a nice save, and the puck came from the right side. He made the save. It came over to the left side, and there was traffic along the boards, and Caton just got the puck and fired it. And again, Weesade, a lot of guys in front of him never saw it.
Off the face-off, puck dumped deep in the Massena zone. Labarge with it there, pokes it free. He'll come after it himself, moving on the wing to Smith. Smith to the blue line, kept in at the point, dumped into the corner. Back it goes. Horan on the backhand to Smith. Smith looks up, he's got room, feeds it ahead to Rogers. Rogers tries to split the D. Rogers poke checked away. Smith chasing it down in the corner from Massena. In behind the net it goes. Trent Thomas has it poke checked away. There's a battle. Thomas gets it. Trent Thomas in the slot. His shot bounces in behind the net off a couple of legs. Adam Smith takes a whack at it. Trying to go to Rogers. Poke checked away from him by the defenseman. Around the boards it goes. There's still a battle. Raiders putting pressure on. Here's a chance. Thomas to the point. Here's the shot. Knocked down. And right back comes McQuaid to the neutral zone. Picked up there by Horan. He'll bounce pass it ahead to Smith. Smith flips it to the line.
Good pressure by that Rogers, Smith, and Thomas line, Jerry. Excellent pressure.
Number 9 got the assist. That's all I know right now. So I'll put that down and let you pick that up, Dave. And right now it's 1-0 for McQuaid on the IceHawks custom screen printing scoreboard. They come into the Massena zone. Puck bouncing and picked up again by the Raiders. Out of the zone, Jared Bradish. Bradish ahead to Miller, busting down the left wing side. Miller double team. Puck slides free and is picked up there around the boards and back out to the neutral zone. Here comes McQuaid. Nick Gallagher into the Massena zone. Nice move. Almost got by the defenseman, but Whitcup is there to break it up and bank it out to center ice. Miller gets upended. The puck slides back into McQuaid's zone. Abbott there, moving it ahead to the red line. Dumped right back to the McQuaid blue line. Abbott again picking it up. He'll flip it to the line of Massena, back out to the neutral zone. McQuaid has to get on side, and the Raiders putting some pressure on again. Here comes Danny Miller from the red line. He'll dump it deep in McQuaid territory. Chasing in after it for Massena is Lanning. Lanning has it knocked away from him. It goes out to the neutral zone. Horn is there to dump it right back in. Goes in behind the net. Picking it up is Cieslak. That's Chris Cieslak, the defenseman. He'll move it on the wing on the right side, and McQuaid looks to break out. It's intercepted at the red line. Right back comes Supernall from Massena. Nice drop pass. The drive knocked down as Lanning unleashed one, but it hit a leg on the way through. Back to the point. Horan takes a whack at it. In behind Lanning, backhander right across the goal mouth. Puck bouncing into the corner. To the blue line, not out of the zone. Raiders putting a little body on now. And the puck bounces free and all the way down the ice. Don't think anybody touched it. No, they're going to wave it off. Somebody must have. And the puck way back in the Massena zone. After it is Horan. Off the glass, trying to move it to Lanning. Lanning has it knocked away. Horan follows up, flips it to Supernall. Here comes Zepi Ogene, who got his first varsity goal last night, and he wants off, so he'll just dump it off the boards deep in McQuaid territory. The Black Knights flip it to the red line. Knocked away there. Tubolino picks up the loose puck, goes to Hadler, intercepted. Right back the other way comes McQuaid. That's Dan Reed dumping in the Massena zone. Ian Maxwell's there. Off the glass, doesn't clear the zone. Kept in by a pinching in Reed. The puck bounces free. Raiders picking it up, or trying to pick it up. Around the boards it goes. as the battle goes forth in the corner, back toward the blue line, bouncing around. Raiders don't see it. Here's a chance in front, but it's going to be intercepted by Hadler. Hadler picks up the loose puck, flips it ahead, doesn't clear. Yeah, it does clear the zone. Now there's a battle out at center ice, and it's dumped back into the Massena zone, and in behind the net it goes. Racing back after it. Raiders try to clear their own zone. The official got in the way, and the puck stolen away by Brandon Nunn's wraparound attempt. Gets a couple of shots at it before LaFrance can cover up and hold on for the face-off. 6:55 left first period on the IceHawk custom screen printing scoreboard. 1-0 McQuaid.
Brandon Nunn, speedster on that first unit, just zipping along the board, stole it off the Raider defenseman. Looked like he was going to dart in behind the net, put the brakes on, stepped out, and tried to jam it to short side. Good save by LaFrance.
Off the face-off, puck behind the net. Picked up by Adam Smith from Massena. Keep wanting to call him John. Back to the blue line. Here's a shot way wide. Bounces around to the other side. Kept in by a pinching defenseman as it goes into the corner. He tried to feed the man in front. That was Flanagan, but he got tied up. And we have a whistle, and we've got our first penalty of the game against Massena, I believe.
It's going to be a roughing call. Is it going to be Massena? It's going to be against number 14 for the Knights.
Okay.
That's Ryan Flanagan, who's going to get either hitting to the head or a roughing call. And the Raiders will go on their first power play. Wanted to mention that last shift out there by that Supernal, Zeppio Jean, and Jared Lanning. Good shift. They had a couple of good shifts last night also.
And scored a goal in one of them.
Yes, Zeppi got his first varsity goal.
And the only goal Massena scored. Raiders on the power play. And here comes Danny Miller. Headman pass to Jared Bradish. Bradish to Miller to Tubolino. Tubolino flips it in the corner. Gets upended, but there is Smith. Smith throws a check, gets it to Tubolino. Back it goes to Lanning. Back to the point. Miller shot through traffic, high over the net. Rebound bounces back to Hadler. Hadler's shot just wide. Bouncing in the corner to Jared Bradish. Bradish will go back to the point. Danny Miller. Miller fakes the shot and gets it back again. Winds up. It's blocked. And finally, it's going to be picked up and dumped out to center ice. Miller throws a check. Has it knocked away. Throws another check and comes up with a puck. Good job by Danny Miller. Puck bouncing out to center ice. It'll be dumped back in the Massena zone. Raiders with a couple of opportunities on the power play.
Big hit by Miller on Mike Cieslak along the board. Just drilled him and flattened him.
Puck out to center ice. It's intercepted. Right back comes McQuaid. They have to wait, and then they'll dump it right on. LaFrance makes the save, leaves for Hadler. Hadler banking it ahead. No, he's going to pass it ahead. And Bradish tried to deflect it, but it's stolen away back inside the Massena zone. Evan Labarge coming up with a puck, looking. He'll bounce pass it ahead. Smith looking. He'll dump. Raiders going to make a change here, and a wholesale change, but Trent Thomas is in there battling for it. Thomas, can he come up with a puck? He's still battling. Now it's Thomas with it as Rogers came in to help out, but he has it stolen away, and it's dumped down the ice. They're going to have a breakaway, and what do we got? An offsides. He was way ahead of the play, actually.
I tell you, but it's inexcusable. You cannot allow the opposition to get behind you like that. And he was behind him by 10 feet, Jerry. You just can't get caught up in the play and not remember what your responsibilities are. And the Raider defensemen, they just sometimes get caught up in that play and forget that their job is to prevent the opposition from getting clear-cut breakaways.
That was Flanagan who had come out of the penalty box. Off the draw, the puck bouncing in the neutral zone. Knocked away there, and it's picked up by Trent Thomas. Will go to Rogers. Back to Thomas. Thomas's headman didn't have much on it. Trying to get it to Petrie, but it's going to be taken away and dumped down the ice into the Massena zone. After Whitcup, he tries to wrap it around the boards toward the blue line. Petrie breaks out of the zone. It's going to be a 2-on-1. Here comes Petrie in on the off wing, trying to dump it through to Rogers. He didn't get much on the pass. It's intercepted, and back comes McQuaid to the Massena line. Knocked away there by Whitcup. Into the zone it goes, poked away, bouncing around, short side shot into the corner. I think LaFrance did get a piece of it. There's a battle behind the net. It bounces around the boards toward the blue line. Rogers will pick it up and start out. His headman right on the stick of Trent Thomas. Thomas will just dump because he's been out there a long time. It's on net, and the save is made by Casamento. 4 minutes left in the period, and it's a 1-0 McQuaid lead. In the corner, they battle for it. Racing after it is Fusilli. The defenseman loses. Side of the net. Here's a backhander by Supernaut up over the net. Puck stolen. Supernaut again trying to get the backhander knocked away, and it's out toward the blue line. Finally, it's going to be up into the stands. And we will have a face-off. And again, this Massena line putting pressure on.
I'll tell you, the Raiders looking very, very comfortable. They're trailing 1-0, but they've generated more offense here in this first period than they did through 3 periods last night. And on that power play, they had some great opportunities, moved the puck well, looked for each other, and looking pretty comfortable right now.
Off the faceoff, puck sits in front. Here's Lanning with it. Backhander right on. Save made. Rebound. Oh, and it's picked up by the defenseman, Cieslak, and he'll move it ahead of the blue line. Kept in at the point by the Raiders. Here's an opportunity in front for Zeppi. Eugene gets a shot off the save made, and covering up is goaltender Casamento.
Oh, the Knights turn it over deep in their own end, and that line of Supernaut, Eugene, and Lanning had a 3-on-1 opportunity, and young Matt Supernall elected to maybe make that pass a little too soon, tipped his hand, but they were able to get that shot off, but not what they would have liked.
Eddie Slade wins the faceoff, and the shot taken by Cameron goes into the corner. Bradish trying to come up with it. He can. It's out to center ice. Picked up there by Massena. Slade again steps by the check, makes a nice pass, but it's intercepted. And bouncing back, it comes to the Massena line, and in the zone it goes. Cameron back after it, takes a whack at it, stops, comes up with it, flips it ahead toward the blue line, out to center ice it goes. Here's Eddie Slade. He has it ripped away from him, and it's dumped deep in Massena territory. Right back out to the neutral zone, goes off a stick and trickles back in McQuaid territory. Back to pick it up, the McQuaid Knights. It's Chris Cieslak behind his own net. Stick handles along the boards and out to center ice. Herr Horan gets a piece of it, has it knocked away. It slides in the Massena zone. Back after it is Evan Labarge. He battles for it, moves it ahead to Eddie Slade. Slade does not clear the zone. Here's the shot, and they score a goal. And the Massena forward made a pass right up the middle, and stepping in front was Brandon Nunn, and he just blasted it by Wissey LaFrance.
Cardinal sin, turning the puck over like that, trying to go up the middle, and Nunn read the pass, and he just stepped in right down the middle, and from just above the hash marks, I tell you, he had plenty of time, plenty of space. He cranked up a rocket. It was so fast I didn't see it, and Wissey LaFrance had no chance, beat him over on the left side over the glove. That was simply a rocket, but again, you can't turn the puck over like that, and Brandon Nunn unassisted.
Off the face-off, the puck in the Massena zone. Danny Miller with it. He'll flip it ahead to the neutral zone. Here comes Massena breaking back the other way and trying to barge his way through. The puck almost stolen by Tubolino. That was Petrie, and Petrie moved it through and then had it knocked away. Here comes McQuaid as they dump it in the corner. Bouncing back to the blue line. Here's a shot fired wide. Picked up there by Flanagan. He'll flip it in behind the net. They center it right in front, but it'll bounce off a stick back toward the point. Flipped into the corner. It goes to Flanagan again. Centering pass in front, fired just wide by Nunn. Nunn tries to bounce it through, intercepted Tubolino. Here's Tubolino down the left wing side, and he'll dump as he wants off. With 1:29 left, it's 2-0 McQuaid on the IceHawk custom screen printing scoreboard. But a much better performance so far from Massena this afternoon than last night.
Much, much better. As I said, they deserve a better fate than be trailing 2-0 at this stage of the hockey game.
Off the face-off, the puck dumped deep in the Massena zone. After it is Evan Labarge. Labarge overskates behind the net, has it knocked away. It's stolen, but he stays with it, trying to steal it in return. Puck along the boards. There's a battle out by the blue line. Here's a shot from the point. Wissey dumps it into the corner, and it's bouncing around in the corner. Picked up there by defenseman Dan Reed pinching in. He'll flip it behind the net. And Whitcup, or no, that's Labarge. Labarge trying to stick handle ahead, flipping it on the wing, and out to center ice it goes. Dump back to the Massena line. Knocked away there. Labarge picks it up, looks to feed it ahead, but it's intercepted. Right back comes the defenseman Reed. Reed shot, fired it wide. Around the boards it goes to the other point. Caton, he'll fire one. It's deflected in behind the net. And bouncing around in the corner, it's going to come to Labarge after a hard check thrown there by Rogers. Back to the point, knocked away. Trent Thomas trying to throw the check. It bounces around toward the blue line. Now in the circle, Raiders pick it up. Rogers high in the air. Will flip it down the ice. That will go far enough for icing. The whistle will blow with 8 seconds left. The faceoff will move back in Massena territory.
That second McQuaid goal coming at the 12:32 mark. Brandon Nunn unassisted. This was after the Raiders tried to come up the middle, and Nunn picked it off, stepped right in, and beat Weissay LaFrance from probably, I'd say, about 30 feet out with just a rocket. Nunn, not very big, but he possesses a
hard shot.
Hard shot. And when you give him that much time and that much space, he's going to do some damage on you.
Gallagher out to take the face-off for McQuaid with 8 seconds left. Off the draw, the whistle blows. Now with 6 seconds left.
I'd say, Jerry, the Raiders have generated more scoring opportunities in this first period than
the entire game.
The entire game last night. They had some good scoring opportunities. Catch a break here or there, but in surges they've taken the attack to the Knights, even though they trail 2-0.
Off the face-off, bouncing puck goes in the corner, picked up by Whitcup behind the net, and he just looks to waste the time, and that'll take care of it right there as the period ends with Massena trailing 2-0. But a pretty good effort for the Red Raiders in that first period. Our Raider hockey broadcasts on WMSA brought to you. Oh, here's the shots. 10-4 were the shots on net favoring McQuaid. On to Division II this year. Off the face-off, Raiders break it in the zone. In behind the net it goes after this defenseman, Caton. Caton loses to Tubolino. Here's Tubolino trying to flip it along the boards, but that's going to be intercepted by Flanagan. He moves it out to center ice. Ahead it goes to Cieslak. He busts by the defenseman in behind the net, though, and Miller just got enough of him to knock him off the puck. It comes back toward the blue line, and Hadler tries to poke it by the defenseman, but it bounces into the corner. Right cross in front, and fanning on the shot was the defenseman pinching down. It'll go all the way back down the ice inside McQuaid territory. They'll deflect it out to the neutral zone. Raiders pick it up there. That's Miller, who lost his edge. It's dumped into the Massena zone. Whitcup will flip it ahead to the McQuaid zone, and it's Reed stepping in front of it. He'll flip it on the left wing to Flanagan, who dumps it deep in Massena territory. Back after to Cieslak. Cieslak in behind the net. It bounces around along the boards. Picked up there by Hadler. Hadler has it tied and taken away in front. Here's the shot, and the save made by LaFrance as somehow Cieslak got it free in front and got the good shot off. He moves it over to Nunn. Nunn takes it behind the net. Here's Nunn, the wraparound attempt. Cross-ice pass bounces free. We have a whistle. We're going to have a penalty on, I think, Danny Miller from Massena as he knocked down the player in the defensive end.
Yes, he did. He upended, I do believe that's number 14. That was Ryan Flanagan that he upended in the offensive end. But you wondered how Cieslak got that puck. It was because Brandon Nunn, did great work in the corner to the left of Weissay LaFrance and made a great backhanded pass. And Cieslak, coming off the dot, was looking for that top corner. He was looking there all the way, fired and missed it by maybe a foot.
Whoops, matching minors. Okay, Flanagan also picks up a penalty.
Okay, he must have done a little stick work prior that I didn't see. I just saw the second half of it when Danny Miller took the legs out from under him. But
okay.
So matching minors 4-4. Well, that bodes well.
Might help a little bit anyway. And the Raiders come up with a puck. Horan. He'll flip it to Labarge. Labarge doesn't see anywhere to go, so he'll turn it back behind the net. Then he looks on the wing, deflected, went off the official, and the Raiders try to clear it and don't. Now the check thrown, comes back toward the blue line. They got a man breaking in, the defenseman, but it bounced away from him. That was Abbott, and the puck comes along the boards, and in behind the net it goes, and it's going to be Patrick Horan picking it up. He'll start out right side, trying to flip it ahead, just gets it out to the neutral zone, dumped right back in the zone by McQuaid. In behind the net, picked up by Evan Labarge. He'll start out left side, and go back to the right side. Here's Labarge looking up on the wing for Rogers, knocked away, gets it back again, and just flips it out to center ice. Picked up there by Goodsell. Here's Goodsell trying to go by the defenseman. He can't. Rogers steals it, knocks it away. It'll trickle to McQuaid territory where it's picked up by Cieslak. He loses it to Labarge. He'll dump it ahead. Rogers trying to come up with it. Almost got a piece of it. Now Chris Cieslak comes back and flips it to the Massena line. It'll trickle in and go behind the net, and it'll be picked up by Horan. High off the glass to the blue line, out to center ice, back in again to lay off sides. The officials caught that. It was close, and here comes Horan from the red line. He'll dump it deep in McQuaid territory. It bounces to Hadler behind the net, pokes to himself, feeds it in front, and trying to come up with it was Petrie on the wrong side of the stick. He knocks it back to the blue line. Kept in momentarily, but here they go. Here comes Gallagher trying to slide it in behind, but Massena did get back in time and moving it free. The penalty has elapsed. Both teams back to 5-on-5 plus the goaltenders. And Massena breaks out. Here's Alan Borden down the right side. He'll dump it deep. In the zone it goes behind the net. Back to pick it up for McQuaid is Fusilli, the defenseman. He'll dump it over on the other side. Whitcup after it. He takes a check, dumps it in behind the net. Here's a hard check thrown by Hadler. Wow. The puck back to the blue line. Nope, not out of the zone. Raiders putting a little pressure on. Finally, McQuaid will pick it up. They got a man breaking, but they're not going to get him as it'll go down for icing. Well, they wave the icing off, and the puck comes in behind the net. Controlled by McQuaid in the corner. Puck to the blue line. Bouncing around, back in the corner it goes. They got a man in front. He can't get the shot off, though, but knocks it in behind the net. Here's Daubert with it. Daubert back to the blue line. The shot right on, the save made. Puck knocked down by Borden. He flips it ahead to Tubolino, and Tubolino will move it, but it's going to be controlled with a high stick as Borden knocked it down with a high stick.
I'll tell you, now we're going to get a
it's a
roughing
penalty.
Call. Yeah, it's a Jacob Whitkup's going to get a call for roughing. Just a thunderous check a second ago. Jeremy Hadler leveled Fusilli, and if you remember in that first period, it was Fusilli that put the hit on Hadler. Well, he reciprocated that.
You remember the number?
He got him in behind the net and lifted him right off his feet and put him on the backside. It's going to be a roughing call against Jacob Whitcup in behind the net.
So the power play for McQuaid, and they control the puck at the blue line. Here's the big drive. Whistle blows before. The puck went in the net, but there's a man in the crease.
Yeah. Caught a break there because that was number 23,
Mike Cieslak.
Mike Cieslak stepping down from the point, and he whistled a rocket that bulged the back of the net, but man in the crease just prior to that.
So the faceoff will move outside the zone. John Smith will take the draw against Brandon Nunn. Faceoff won by Massena. Danny Miller takes it, rips around, trying to get it out of the zone. Can't clear the zone. It's dumped in behind the net. Here's Horan looking just to tie it up. Nunn steps in there, comes up with a puck. Here's Brandon Nunn to the dot. He'll go back to the point. Cieslak, centering pass, bounces in front. We say LaFrance will jump on it. And they tried to get it right in front to Chris Cieslak, the defenseman who's moved up front on this power play. He's huge. And he was turned the wrong way and couldn't get a stick on it.
Just going to comment on how they moved their big defenseman, Cieslak, number 10, who was probably the biggest player on the ice here this afternoon. And they move him from defense up front on that power play and punk him right in front of the goaltender. And he's a big target out there.
We're not sure how much time is left on the penalty. There's no times on the clock, or at least they don't put them up. Here's a shot, and LaFrance makes that save chest high. And that was Mike Cieslak, who got that shot from the point. He's the forward who plays the point on the power play, and the defenseman plays in front on the power play.
Cieslak brothers, and he stepped into one. We saw that one and handle it with ease.
Off the draw, Raiders win the face-off. Horan in the corner just looks to tie it up, and he draws a crowd but still stays with it. Finally goes to Tubolino. Horan comes back trying to tie it up, just wasting some time, and the puck bouncing along the boards. Horan has it underneath him. It squirts free, clear to the blue line, out to center ice. Good work there by young Mr. Horan to waste a lot of time.
Patrick killed at least 20 seconds down in the corner.
Puck dumped right back in the Massena zone. Cieslak trying to flip it to the blue line. Here's a shot high over the net as the puck just bounced into the high slot. Into the corner. Here's Brandon Nunn after it. He'll flip it in behind the net. Picked up there by Ryan Flanagan. Flanagan back to Cieslak at the point. He passes it in front to Nunn. He shoots it up over the net as he had all kinds of time, and he just fired it over the net. Here's a drive. No, they fake the drive, go to the point. Move it across ice. Here's another chance in front. Fanned on the shot. Raiders will break back the other way. Banging it out to center ice. There's a foot race for it. Tubolino trying to come up with it in the corner. He's got it. Bounces it. Hits the side of the net. Trying to get it free to Bradish, but it's knocked away from him. Comes around the boards as the Raiders kill the penalty off.
Now they got another penalty coming, though.
And here comes Brandon Nunn busting by the defense. He'll break in front. Score a goal.
Brandon Nunn, his second goal of the afternoon, and just showing that blinding speed as he took a lead pass over two lines, from deep inside his own defensive zone, up over the blue line, over the red line, and then just accelerated by the Raider defenseman, went right in, got Deweese down, and went across on his forehand and put it up high. And there was going to be a penalty on that against Massena. I don't know what the call was, but that was Nunn, who just a second ago had a golden opportunity and fired it wide, but he made no mistake on that one.
I'm not sure who fed the pass ahead, but now the puck dumped back in the Massena zone again. In the corner, around the boards it goes. Now it's picked up by Danny Miller. 14. Flanagan got the pass. That was a great pass. And out to center ice. Here comes Massena's Rogers trying to flip it ahead to himself. He flips it to the center ice area, and then it goes into the zone where it's picked up by Fusilli, the defenseman. Fusilli moves it ahead to the blue line, kept in by Smith. Smith trying to knock it into the corner to Rogers. It'll come behind the net. It's flipped around the boards by Sean Conroy, the other defenseman. Now Adam Smith throws a check. Conroy comes up with a puck, doesn't clear the zone. Here's a bouncer in front of the net. Comes back to the blue line again. Patrick Horan is there. Flipping ahead to Rogers, and we got a penalty. And who's it going to be against? It's going to be against a contact to the head penalty.
Contact to the head. That goal, Brandon Nunn at the 5:30 mark. Ryan Flanagan, a great lead pass from deep in his own and just outside the Massena blue line as he hit a streaking Brandon Nunn. And Nunn going in from that right side, cut across the crease area, faked the shot, got Wissé LaFrance down, and continued to cross the slot area and then put it up high. But a great lead pass. Smitty Warren's grandson, Smitty from Massena, of course. That was a super lead pass.
Fusilli picks up the penalty for contact to the head, and off the faceoff, the puck comes back in the Massena zone. Picked up by Alan Borden. He'll flip it on the wing, Rogers. Rogers steps by the check, starts it ahead. Here comes David Rogers, taking it right down the middle, trying to stick handle through some traffic. It's going to roll off his stick right on net, and covering up and holding on for the faceoff is Casamento, the goaltender.
A little extracurricular activity after the play, and that was Randy Abbott, I think, that gave David Rogers a little shot in the back and got a little off from the crowd as goaltender had made the save, Casamento. I thought we'd be seeing, is that number 20 in there now? We changed goaltenders here?
No, it's still Casamento, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they're going to split it to half. Here's the shot. Labarge, and it's blocked, dumped down the ice. Massena won the faceoff. Labarge got the shot, but it was blocked. Puck comes to Alan Borden. Raiders trail 3-0 here on the coach's corner scoreboard. Down the ice it goes. There's going to be a foot race for it as Sean Petrie trying to come up with it. He can't, and the puck is dumped right back by McQuaid. Borden back in after it for Massena. Picks up a forechecker and clears the puck to Petrie. Petrie ahead to Trent Thomas. Thomas takes it in on the off wing, setting up the power play. Dropping back to the point, but it's knocked away. Still in the zone. Rogers gloves it down. And it's still in the zone. Now it's picked up and dumped down the ice again by McQuaid. Evan Labarge after it. We don't know how much time is left, but can't be much in the penalty. Rogers backing the other way. Here's Rogers. He's got a man breaking. Thomas is off sides. He wanted to stay on sides and just couldn't do it.
Now they have the penalty time up, or the spot up above, but evidently it's not functioning properly because they haven't put up any penalty times during the course of the game, but there is a spot up on top above the home visitor portion.
Must be it doesn't work as good as that beautiful scoreboard in the Massena
That's
arena.
Right. Oh, you would come back with that beautiful. Here we go. We're making the goaltending change right now. This is
Connor Knapp.
It's number 30.
Massena's out there. Okay, it's going to be the Daubert line. Daubert makes a nice move, but doesn't make it past the second player, Horan, and the Raiders break back the other way. Here's the head man. Ian Maxwell flips it in the zone. It's going to trickle in, and Knapp gets to play it. He flip it to the blue line, not out of the zone, however. Raiders control in the corner. Jared Lanning with it. He'll flip it behind the Zepiogene. Back to Lanning. Lanning trying to center, goes and hits the back of the net. Now, Supernall throws a check against Caton. The puck squirts free, though, and it's clear to the blue line, not out of the zone, kept in by the Raiders. Bouncing back to the blue line. Again, Patrick Horan keeps it in. He'll flip it in behind the net. Caton will have to come up with it again. Back around the boards it goes. Supernall gets it free. They battle for it. Zepiogene gets a piece of it along the board. Supernall, he's got it. Steps by the check, gets tripped. No call. The puck bounces into the corner. The Massena crowd calling for a call.
I don't blame.
Now the puck bouncing. Finally it comes to McQuaid. They move it to the blue line. Not out of the zone. Maxwell keeps it in to Zepiogene. And Raiders are going to move off and make a change. But a good job by this line, putting a lot of pressure on McQuaid.
McQuaid never cleared the zone with this line, with this whole shift. It's the first time they've cleared the line.
And they move it ahead as now we move it to the Massena line. Still in the zone. Raiders had a chance to clear. Here's a shot knocked down. And it'll bounce to Miller, who poke checks it ahead. Eddie Slade down the right wing side. Here's Slade with Cameron. Winds up the drive, and the glove save made by Knapp, and he's going to hold on for the faceoff. 5:48 left, second period. 3-0 McQuaid.
Eddie Slade down that right side. He and Kyle Cameron, it was basically a 2-on-2, and Cameron went to the net looking for a rebound, and Slade from that right side, top of the circle. Good shot, but goaltender Knapp had no problems handling it.
Slade out there. Eddie's playing hurt today.
He had a groin injury, I do believe.
Puck at the blue line. Whitcup flips in the corner for Slade. Slade trying to chase it down. Gets by the defenseman. Moves it free to Bradish. Here's Jared Bradish. Centering pass in front. The shot to save the rebound. And it hit the post. Good opportunity for Massena. Now it's dumped down the ice into the Massena zone. Whitcup chasing in after it. Here's a backhander, and what we say makes a save as Cieslak just beat the Massena defenseman to the puck and got a shot off. Slade with it. Delay penalty. Raiders control. Here's Cameron busting in right side. Cameron center pass shot. Oh, Miller just fired it wide. The whistle will blow, and the Raiders will get a power play.
Oh, I think that last one was, I think it was a save as Kyle Cameron and Danny Miller. Miller went to the net without the puck. Cameron right across the crease, and I think Nat got it with that right leg, a super save. And just prior to that, there was a good flurry out there, and I think might have hit the goal post, but two good opportunities. I'm looking for it down. It was Eddie Slade who had that good opportunity just prior to that. Might have rang one off the post. It's down to 5:13 left in the period.
I don't know. It's Flanagan on the penalty. And I didn't hear what the penalty was for. But Flanagan gets the gate, and the Raiders go on the power play here. And they've had some great opportunities. They've hit the post a couple of times, but back comes Knapp, and he can't get the shot, or none rather. He can't get the shot off as Miller comes back to block it. Here's Danny Miller with a puck. He'll move it ahead. Headman pass goes to Tubolino. Got off the end of his stick. Tubolino, though, does come up with it and dumps it in the zone. Picked up there by Cieslak. That's Chris Cieslak. He can't clear the zone as Miller keeps it in. Cieslak again behind the net. Battling for it there, along with Smith. He clears it to the blue line. Danny Miller. Miller will flip it. Trying to move it through. It's knocked away and dumped down the ice as Bradish couldn't find the handle. LaFrance stops it. He's going to leave it side of the net. And it's picked up there by Hadler. Hadler breaking out of the zone. Still 3-0 for McQuaid. Here's Tubolino. He'll dump it deep in the zone. Racing in after it is Adam Smith for Massena. Smith trying to dump it. He'll get it in behind. It bounces around the boards to Hadler. Hadler kicks it behind, but there's nobody there but McQuaid, and they'll dump it down the ice with 4 minutes even left to go in the period.
You get a man advantage. You got to outnumber the man on the puck. The Raiders not doing that. When they get it in the zone, they're not outmanning the opposition.
Here's Whitcup flipping in the corner. Rogers throws the check. The puck in behind. Rogers comes up with it. He had it and lost it. And the puck cleared around the boards by Cieslak. Cieslak, big kid. He's got a man breaking. And in the zone it goes. It's going to trickle right in. And I'll tell you, we say LaFrance didn't know what he was going to do. He could have come out and gotten the puck, but it didn't go in the net anyway. Just by pure luck, actually, for Massena. Back comes the Raiders. In the zone, Trent Thomas dumps it in behind, where it's picked up by Ryan Abbott. Abbott has it stolen away and dumped behind the net. But back to pick it up is Flanagan, and he'll just lift it high in the air, not out of the zone, kept in by Evan LaBarge. Now that his pass intercepted, back comes McQuaid down the left side. They'll dump it in behind the net. LaFrance gets a piece of it on the way by, and it's picked up there by Petrie. Doesn't clear the zone. Here's a shot, goes in behind the net. They got a man in front, in the slot, bouncing around, and we're going to have a penalty against Massena. Here's the drive from the point. It's knocked down. Still controlled by Flanagan. Flanagan with a puck, and finally it's bounced back toward the blue line. Will it go out to center ice? It does not. Yeah, now the whistle blows.
He's going to call Sean Petrie, I do believe. That's what he's going to call him. I can't believe that's a penalty. He's going to call him for cross-checking. I thought he just moved the guy, got the shoulder in him, moved him out from in front of that net. Boy, that's a real borderline call. Sean Petrie, you got to be physical in front of your own net. The McQuaid player standing there, and he just moved him out. I thought he got the shoulder. I think he's going to call cross-checking. Yeah, that's and it. Oh, that wasn't cross-checking. No way. Oh, he's got one from each. Every kind of late penalty. There's a high sticking against. That's going to be Fusilli, I do believe. Let's see. Yeah, Leo Fusilli is picking up a high sticking call. So that even things out. Both players kind of questioning the official.
Yeah. Okay. He probably realized that maybe shouldn't call that first one. And anyway, off the face-off, it's 4-on-4 plus the goaltenders. Puck out by the blue line as they move it around the horn. Controlled by McQuaid. They drop it back to the point. Here's just dumped in behind. Danny Miller comes up with it. Flips it around the boards too. Hadler, he gets tied up. The puck bounces free. That's Caton doing some damage. Now it's picked up and goes out to the blue line. What do they blow that for? Another penalty?
Another penalty, and this is going to be an elbowing call. And it's going to be McQuaid. Ooh, and he's lucky he doesn't pick up a misconduct as he comes to the gate. That's number 21.
Ooh.
And
couple of
he's
shots.
Slamming the gate. He's mad. He's going to get an elbowing call, and he's fortunate that he didn't pick up a misconduct on that. But
who is that?
It's number 21. That's Arizosa. Nick Arizosa. So the Raiders have a man advantage.
All right, off the face-off, a puck at the Massena line. Here comes Tubolino. Trying to split the D, and he's just knocked off the puck, and it's dumped out to center ice. Picked up by Borden. He'll dump it right back in McQuaid territory. Puck in the corner. Reed is there. Reed checked by Hadler. Hadler comes up with the puck, centering in front, and it bounces all the way back to the blue line, but it's kept in nicely by Bradish. To Miller, on the fly shot, goes wide, goes to Hadler off the boards, trying to center, gets it back again. Hadler in front. It goes back to Miller at the point. Drive. He fires it wide. Comes in front. Bradish shot right on. It's knocked away. It comes into the corner. Raiders control. Here's the bouncing puck to Miller at the point. He'll flip it on the wing to Bradish. Bradish steps to the dot. His shot bounces in front, and the goaltender gets a piece of it. What do we got? Another penalty?
Yeah, they're going to call A.J. Tubolino for roughing the goaltender. And he just, Jared Bradish shot the puck from the left boards, and the goaltender went down and gloved it, and Tubolino and the puck got there almost simultaneously, and he had no place else to go. He was reaching for the puck, and they're going to give him for roughing the goaltender. And again, that's a very, I understand questioning and protecting your goaltender, but I tell you, that was a bad call. And the Raiders, just prior to that, Jared Bradish setting up a great pass out to Miller, who fired a rocket, and it hit something and went wide, and Raiders all kinds of pressure, and that's going to negate the power play.
But they got two on that one too.
They pick up.
All right, so the Raiders still the power play shot, and that goes wide. Bounces in behind the net, controlled by McQuaid. They'll move it out to center ice. And now it's Danny Miller trying to come up with it. And into the zone, bouncing around toward the blue line, controlled by McQuaid. In the Massena zone, Miller will knock it down in front, and he'll break back the other way. Here comes Danny Miller, goes by the check, it's knocked down, the puck bounces free to Rogers. We got another penalty. I can't believe this. They're going to call another penalty.
Yeah, Danny Miller is going to go back in the box. He just came out as he upended the
tripping.
Yeah, that's you can't. He swept the feet from under the McQuaid player just as he was heading to the bench, and he is in disbelief. But I think that was a good call. There's official right, and they're going to tighten it up here. They don't want this thing to escalate, I guess, but I think they're precipitating it with some of these nickel and dime calls, but that was a good call.
That penalty, the other penalty to McQuaid was to, let me see if I can pick him up, what's his name again? That's his second one, Arizosa.
Yeah, number 21, Arizosa, yeah.
Okay.
He's not seeing much ice time. He probably won't after this. He getting two quick penalties in a row like that.
50 seconds left in the period. 3-0 our score in favor of McQuaid. And unfortunately, it's been a lot of penalties that probably could not have or should not have been called. Anyway, now it's McQuaid on the power play. They've got a two-man advantage right now. Why that is, I'm not sure. And maybe one of those was a double minor, but they've got the puck in front. Here's the shot, and that's Nunn again. And he scores his third goal, and that's a natural hat trick for Brandon Nunn.
You call him a sniper or not, from the dot on the right side, just inside the dot. And we say LaFrance had a couple guys parked, but he being Nunn, saw the opening top right corner, looking there all the way, and that's where he put it, probably in about a 2-foot square spot up in that top right-hand corner. But that was with a two-man advantage. Raiders having two men in the box. Brandon Nunn giving his third goal of the year. You know, we had one penalty in the first period, Jerry. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 in the second, and then there were nickel and dime, most of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has not been a hard-hitting game. A couple of clean checks out there, but has not been. These guys have turned it into a penalty-filled period. These meaning the guys with the striped shirts.
Yeah. Let's see. Nunn gets the goal. 5 gets the assist. and 23. So 5 and 23 pick up the assists. And the puck in the Massena zone. Here's a shot, and they score another goal. And I think Weesay might like to have that one back as it went right between his legs. And that'll make it 5-0.
And that's another power play goal as the Raiders empty the penalty box. But that one was, kind of, Weesay would like to have that one back. I don't know who got the goal. I was writing down the assist on the first one, but I did see it came from the left, Weesay, about 10 feet out right along the ice, and I think he went down a little early, and it might have caught the 5-hole. We'll wait and see. But 2 power play goals in a row.
Yep. So the Raiders
coming 13 seconds apart, actually.
And that'll make it 5-0 as the penalty or the period will elapse here in a few seconds. 10 seconds left in the period. It's 5-0 now for McQuaid. First varsity goal for this kid. Number 8 got the goal, I guess. As time elapses and the buzzer sounds, and that'll take care of the second period.
Did you get an assist on that one, Jay?
I didn't catch the assist.
That's Caton's second goal. He got the first and the fifth goal. We were talking to Smitty Warren between periods, and he said that line, they're thinking about going to prep school intact. So I don't know.
Wouldn't that be something? Be interesting to see if they would stay together, though, once they got to prep school, you know. Off the draw. The puck comes back in the Massena zone. Danny Miller back after it. Miller draws a crowd and loses the puck. It comes to Nunn. He centers it, but it's intercepted by Hadler. Hadler out to the neutral zone. Flips it to the line where Nunn picks it up and dumps it down the ice. And is there actually going to be an icing call? No, there's not. As the puck comes all the way down the ice, and Miller has to come up with it. He gets double-teamed, trying to kick it ahead. It bounces free to Cieslak. He loses, and Massena breaks out of the zone. That's Sean Petrie flipping it ahead to Hadler. Hadler has it knocked away. Puck bouncing around, picked up again by Petrie. He loses it to Nunn. Nunn tries to come in the zone. He steals the puck, centers it in front. Here's the shot, goes wide around the boards. Back toward the blue line. Kept in at the point by Dan Reed. Dumps it in front of the net, and it bounces back to the blue line again. Knocked down Petrie, trying to slide it out of the zone. Here comes Tubolino. One-on-one with Reed. Tubolino, and Reed just pokes it away, and it goes into the corner. Back after it is Caton. Caton and Tubolino battle in the corner for it, but coming back to help out is Ryan Flanagan. He'll flip it over on the other side to Reed. He gets it back again. Flanagan, headman pass, hits Nunn on the tape. Here's Nunn. He loses the puck momentarily, but gets it back again. It comes into the Massena zone. Cieslak in front to Flanagan. His shot is knocked away, and the puck comes in behind the net. Here's Flanagan centering. In front, the shot, Cieslak, and it doesn't get through. And they've been out there a long time, that first line.
They have. Nunn has already made his way to the bench, but the other two, Flanagan and Cieslak, have extended stays.
They're out there for a couple of minutes, and that's a long shift, but they don't seem to be too tired, do they? Raiders come out of the zone. Flipping it ahead, it goes by Jared Bradish, where it's picked up by Chris Cieslak. Cieslak moves it ahead to Pat Daubert. Daubert circles in his own end and starts out. Daubert, nice move. Flips it ahead on the wing. Here's DiCamillo centering it past Daubert. Daubert, can he get the shot off? He does, and it goes in behind the net. Back to the point. Cieslak, the defenseman Cieslak, moves it ahead into the corner. Now it comes free to Jared Bradish. Bradish trying to clear the zone. Cieslak keeps it in. Here's Cieslak pinching into the circle. Now Bradish takes it away. He'll start along the boards, flips it high on the boards to the blue line. Kept in with a skate. And finally the puck bounces along the blue line where it's picked up by the Raiders' Evan Labarge. And he moves it out to center ice just barely. Here comes Bradley. Zach Bradley dumps it right on from the neutral zone, and the save made by Weesay LaFrance. Massena dumps it down the ice, and that will be called icing with 12:16 left in the third period. 5-0 our score in favor of the team from McQuaid on our IceHawk custom screen printing scoreboard. Remember, at IceHawks now, they have an embroidery machine. If you need any embroidery work done, they can do it right in Massena. We'll be picking players of the game, and again, the choice pretty easy for the opposition. And I think we can safely say that Brandon Nunn.
We know Brandon Nunn's got a good chance.
Massena, let's see. We'll have to think about that one, Coach. In the zone it goes. Randy Abbott after it, in behind the net, around the boards. Pinching in is Adam Smith. Smith knocked away from him. Now Rogers, I think Rogers has had a pretty good game for Massena.
Yes, he's certainly a contender.
But here comes McQuaid on the 2-on-1 across the blue line. And the shot, and that's wide. The puck comes to Alan Borden. Can he clear the zone? He cannot. It's dumped back into the corner. Picked up by McQuaid as they move it to the dot. And back toward the blue line. Knocked down, and the puck squirts free. Rogers picks it up to the red line. Ahead it goes to Trent Thomas. Thomas winds up, and it's off net, but it's gloved by goaltender Connor Knapp, and he'll hold on for the faceoff. 11:22 left in the third period. McQuaid leads Massena 5-zip.
Trent Thomas picking up an errant puck just outside the blue line, crossing the blue line, using the defenseman as a screen. Got off a good quick shot. It was wide of the net, but you could see why Knapp is rated so highly. A good glove hand.
Off the faceoff, puck goes in behind the net. After it's Zepi Ogene. Ogene in front. Nice pass to Miller, and he fired it wide. Great feed by Ogene to Miller, and Danny just fired it wide as he was pinching in. He's in the corner digging for it. As that was Jared Lanning. The puck squirts away from him to the other side. It's picked up by McQuaid. They move to the blue line. Not out of the zone. Supernaw keeps it in momentarily. Now racing back for it. It bounces back all the way down the ice, in fact, and it'll trickle in on Wisé LaFrance. He leaves it for Miller behind the net. Danny Miller with a puck. Gets double-teamed. Escapes the check. Moves it along the boards. Lanning. Miller falls down. Lanning has it taken away from him by McMillan. He'll flip it over on the other side. Back out toward the blue line. Here's a drive from the point. That's wide and around the boards. Into the corner it goes. Miller after it again for Massena. Throws a check. The puck bouncing in front, and it's picked up by the Raiders. Here's Whitcup. Headman pass to Lanning. Lanning from the blue line. His shot goes in behind the net, and the Raiders will make a line change, I think. Lanning still going in after the puck, though. It bounces to the circle, to the blue line. Not out of the zone. Kept in by Labarge for Massena. Labarge shifts. Short side shot right on. Rebound cleared in behind the net. After it is Supernaw. Supernaw stick handles. Moves it through to Lanning. Back toward the blue line. Kept in by Labarge at the point. Labarge trying to keep it in. And now it's Jeremy Hadler flipping it in behind the net. Raiders in the middle of a line change. And finally, McQuaid gets it out to center ice. Puck slides to the Massena line. Picked up by Petrie. Petrie looking to headman Hadler. Goes through his skates, and back comes McQuaid trying to barge her way through, but it's picked up by Horan. Horan flips it off the boards out to center ice. Alex Caton there at his own blue line for McQuaid. His headman intercepted by Tubolino, throws a check. Labarge picks up the puck, steps by. Here's Labarge taking it wide in the zone. Finally, it's knocked off and out to center ice again. McQuaid back into the Massena zone. Here comes the shot. And the glove save by LaFrance, as that was labeled for the right corner, but the save is made on Flanagan.
Yeah, Ryan Flanagan down that left side just after receiving a crunching check from A.J. Tubolino. I tell you, two guys that are looking for each other, Jeremy Hadler and 17, Leo Fasili. That's about the third time they've gone head-to-head, and I would rate Jeremy Hadler 2-1 on who got the
better check. Okay, off the face-off. The puck in the corner, Raiders control. Ian Maxwell, he'll flip it to the blue line, and it trickles out to center ice. After it is Borden to the red line. He'll dump from there, deep in McQuaid territory. Back after it is Caton in the corner. He picks up a forechecker in Petrie. Petrie knocks him off the puck. Now Hadler throws a check. The bouncer, though, is picked up by McQuaid. And out to center ice. Here comes Mike Cieslak. Cieslak building up the head of steam into the Massena zone, and he has it knocked off his stick where A.J. Tubolino picks it up, rips it around the boards for Hadler. Hadler in the corner. He gets tied up. Now the puck squirts free, and it comes to Alan Borden. Borden, 1-on-2. He'll dump it. It goes in behind the net. He wants off as the Raiders making a change. Back after it is Nunn. Feeds it ahead for Flanagan. Flanagan can't get by the check, and the puck is in the corner. Flanagan to Cieslak. Cieslak trying to go back to Flanagan, but it's intercepted. Danny Miller. Miller steps ahead to the blue line, and out to center ice it goes. Here comes Eddie Slade. Falling down, knocks it back inside McQuaid territory. Back after it there is Reed. Reed has it knocked away, but coming back to help out is Nunn. Along the boards, out toward the blue line, Kyle Cameron with it. He'll flip it back into the corner. Goes in behind the net. Caton is there to pick it up. Caton centers, hits the side of the net with it. It's knocked away by Slade momentarily, but now it's picked up by McQuaid, and out to center ice it goes. To the red line. Whitcup, right back it goes deep in McQuaid territory, and coming back after it is Ryan Flanagan. Flanagan starts out right side. About halfway through the period, Flanagan just clears it. to the neutral zone. Nunn is stood up at the blue line, and the puck knocked away. Raiders back the other way. Rogers, nice move. He'll dish it off to Whitcup. Whitcup takes it in on the off wing left side, trying to barge his way through, gets a shot off, it's wide. And around the boards it goes to Trent Thomas. Thomas just goes back to the point to Danny Miller. Miller runs into some traffic, stays with it. Miller trying to barge the puck through, and finally it squirts free to the blue line out to center ice. Here's a foot race, and down the ice a breakaway, and here's the shot, and they score a goal. That's going to be Pat Daubert, and that'll make it 6-0.
Raiders putting pressure along the boards on that far side, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 players in the scrum. It came out with one Raider forward, and who was that number?
That was Pat Daubert.
Daubert breaking away, and I think that's the time that Coach Latham would tell his forward to reach out, put a hook on him, take a penalty. He had about a half a stride on him, couldn't catch him. Reach out there, take that penalty, prevent that breakaway.
So that makes it 6-0. Off the face-off. Here comes Lanning with it in the corner. Knocked away to the blue line, kept in. Here's a shot. Labarge right on. The rebound, no rebound, and the save is made. Unassisted goal by Daubert. And the puck bouncing back in McQuaid territory. And again, the Raiders putting some good pressure on. Here's Labarge. Flips it in front. Knocked away to the circle. Clear to the blue line. Labarge keeps it in, winds it up. The shot is gloved. And holding on for the face-off is Connor Knapp.
Well, just prior to that 6th goal, they had some pressure down in the McQuaid end, but said if they had any luck at all, it's all bad luck. Putting the pressure on, the puck comes bouncing out in the neutral zone, and again, the speed wins out. Daubert had the speed on the Massena forward and had that breakaway, and we say didn't have much chance on it.
Off the draw, puck in the corner, controlled by Zepi Ogene. Back to the point. Labarge winds up his shot through
there
traffic.
It is. No.
Oh, just wide. And it looked like Supernal was going to put a stick on it, deflected. Here comes Lanning barging his way through. He's got the shot. Hit the goalpost. Rebound. Big save. Bouncing puck in front. And it's covered up. And I'll tell you what, this line has been Massena's most effective by far today.
They have, certainly, Lanning, Supernal, and Ogene, and both Ogene and Supernal right at the end. 2 good saves by goaltender Knapp, as the first one came off of Ogene, and then Supernal picked up the rebound and was right in tight, maybe too tight, tried to stuff it down low, and he stacked the pads and couldn't get it by him.
Here's the face-off. Petrie with a puck in the corner. He draws a crowd. Helping out is Tubolino. Tubolino trying to barge his way through. Gets a shot off. It's blocked. Comes out to center ice. Maxwell back after it. He'll flip it ahead to Borden. Knocked away from him. We got delay offsides. And, they do touch it. And the face-off will come outside the zone. 5:54 left in the third period. 6-0 McQuaid on the coach's corner scoreboard.
And of course the outcome, it seems to be settled at this stage, and the Raiders right now are trying to break that goose egg, trying to, for their own self-confidence, get on this scoreboard.
Off the face-off at center ice after the offsides. The puck controlled momentarily by Massena, but it's knocked back to the Raider line. Picked up there by Tubolino. Tubolino trying to barge his way through. Knocked away from him. Back to Petrie. Petrie, poke check. Into the zone comes McQuaid, but it's knocked away. Hadler picks it up. Delay offsides.
I think he's going to call a penalty here. I do believe on Massena. And it's going to be Alan Borden going to get a tripping call as he kind of low bridged didn't upend him, but he knocked him off his stride, and the official making the call happened right down in front of us. So McQuaid going on the power play with 5:33 left in this third period, up 6-0.
So Borden gets the gate for tripping, and McQuaid goes on the power play. Miller out to try to kill it. He wins the draw. It goes to the red line. Back into the Massena zone. Whitcup after it there. Whitcup gets tied up behind the net. Trying to skate away with it. He still got it. It's finally poked free. Controlled, and here's the shot right across the goal mouth. LaFrance gets a stick on it. To the blue line, but not out of the zone. Here's a shot bouncing into the corner. That changed direction a couple of times, bouncing around. Picked up again by McQuaid. They'll go back to the point. Fusilli shot right on, and LaFrance is going to glove it and hold on for the face-off.
Yeah, that line of was it Arizoa that just had I'm going to butcher his name again, Arizosa.
But now there's going to be another penalty. Are they going to even things up here? Yeah, they're going to call a penalty on McQuaid
Bradish
and Massena.
Gallagher getting the gate. We've had a lot of simultaneous minors here this afternoon, and this one Jared Bradish going to the gate. Along he'll join Alan Borden along with Nick Gallagher for the McQuaid Knights.
Matching roughing calls, and the Raiders come up with a puck and dump it down the ice, and in fact the goaltender makes the save from long range. That's Connor Knapp. 6-0, McQuaid leading. Raiders killing a penalty here, 5-on-4 penalty. And here comes McQuaid across the blue line, busting by the D. It's going to come in. We say pokes it free, and we have a whistle. And now there's pushing and shoving. And I don't know what precipitated that, but they're going to call penalties, I'm sure.
I'm trying to pick up the number over here. I know number 17, Leo Fusilli, back here is kind of, he's might have been injured. He got jarred with a thundering check. Danny Miller just hit him a second ago. That's 19. That's Bradley. He's going to go to the penalty box. Let's see what's going to be Danny Miller for Massena. But just prior to that, number 17, who is Leo Fusilli. In fact, he might be going to the locker room. He's been involved in most of the afternoon with Jeremy Hadler with some head-to-head checks, two big guys, and this time Danny Miller was certainly not as big as Jeremy Hadler, but leveled him just at the blue line. And Fusilli was in all kinds of discomfort. He's going to the locker room. And then as the play came in, and do we have a change? Is that no? We say still.
No,
in
he's
there.
still in there.
Okay,
yeah.
We say the shot came in. He held it for the rebound. There was a scrum in front, and that's when Miller and Bradley went toe-to-toe again. So a lot of penalties here this afternoon.
Oh, boy.
One in the first period, and since then we have had probably about 15 penalties. And that second, we're not done. We still have 4:38 left to go.
So it's still a 5-on-4 power play, as the rest of them are all matching. And I'm not sure when that penalty will elapse. Off the face-off, the whistle blows.
Well, they had the official talking to one of the referees talking to Coach.
And the other official dropped the puck.
The other official dropped the puck, right.
Okay.
Well, he's. I'm looking out here. It looks like he's got his big power play out there. I hate to see this. Up 6-0. You got. It looks like he's got the Nunn line out there.
He does. Off the face-off, puck controlled by the Raiders, and they do move it out to center ice, trying to bust their way through. And it's Smith with it. Adam Smith. He's stood up, and Nunn picks up the puck. Here's Nunn. Nice drop pass to Flanagan. Flanagan doesn't get the shot off. Tubolino gets a piece of it, but Flanagan gets it back again. Setting up the power play, goes back to the point. Here's a shot deflected just wide. And the puck picked up by Flanagan. He'll drop it back to the point. Yeah, kept in nicely by the defenseman. He'll move it on the other side, gets it back again. They move it around the horn, back to the point. Here's a shot that's wide, bouncing in front. Tubolino gets a whack at it, can't come up with it. Here's a shot save made. Puck cleared back to the blue line. And bouncing into the corner it goes. Here's another shot. LaFrance holds on to that one. The penalties elapsed the first Massena penalty, so they're back to even Steven. We're down to 3:50. It's 6-0 for McQuaid.
Great puck movement by the Knights in that offensive zone. They just zipped it around, and they try to isolate that guy on that far side. They use the overload, but they use the guy on the weak side a lot. When it comes back to the point on the strong side, he goes diagonal, try to find that guy on the far side who's usually unattended, and get it to him for a quick shot.
Off the draw, puck controlled by McQuaid. Here's the backhander, goes wide. Horan around the boards trying to come up with it. Knocked back in behind the net. They center it in front, but it's going to be picked up there by Lanning. Lanning flips it, and it'll roll down the ice. They wave the icing off, and racing back after it is Alex Caton. Picks it up, flips it into the corner. He's got Supernaut on him. Supernaut, and he just kind of knocks him down, and now the body's flying. It goes bouncing in behind the net. Here comes McQuaid breaking out of the zone. Cieslak, his pass intercepted. Horan can't hold on to it. Here's Nunn. Fires it high over the net. Now Flanagan picks it up. He'll dump it in behind the net. Around the boards it goes. In the corner. Picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan for McQuaid. Out by the top of the circle. Cross ice pass goes to Caton. His shot. And LaFrance makes the save chest high with 2:58 left in the third period.
And the confidence builder for that line of Supernal, O'Gene, and Lanning, they were matched up against the number 1 line of Nunn, Cieslak, and Flanagan, and did a pretty good job out there. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, they've had, every time they've been out there, they've had a pretty good shift.
Rogers will take the face-off now against Vernetti. Off the draw. Rogers trying to barge his way through. Now to Smith, who moves it down the ice. It'll slide in to Cieslak, the big defenseman. He rips it around the boards. Borden keeps it in at the point. Knocked away in the corner, and down the ice it goes. There's going to be a foot race for it. And here we go again. In front, the shot, and they score another goal, and that's Daubert again. And that time, LaFrance went down early, and Daubert just came right by him and backhanded it up into the net to make it 8-0, or 7-0.
Puck is in the offensive zone, and what happens? The Raider defense, they're split too wide. The defenseman on the strong side's got to get some support from the defenseman on the weak side. And when it came out by the defenseman on the strong side, the other defenseman was too far away, removed from the play to catch up to streaking forward. And Daubert walked right in and got his second goal in a row.
So Daubert gets 2 now, and Vernetti picks up the assist. Here's a chance for Ian Maxwell. He fires it up over the net. Puck around the boards to the blue line. 7-0 our score in favor of McQuaid. And they call, what's that, an offside?
Call it offside. Ian Maxwell cranking one up from just inside the blue. Now, I'll tell you, that jumped up on Knapp, and it hit him high up on the chest. It looked like he fired it over the top of the net, but it hit Knapp, who was a big goaltender, as he went down, hit him right on the top of the shoulder blade and kicked up over the net.
Faceoff moves outside the zone. Off the draw, back into the Massena zone. And the shot goes right across the goal mouth. It's going to come to Jared Bradish. Bradish flips it ahead. Intercepted and right back to Massena territory. Whitcup flips it right back with 2 minutes left. It goes into McQuaid territory where Chris Cieslak has a stolen away. Cameron, he fanned on the shot. Had it wide open in the high slot and fanned on the shot. And the puck comes back out to the neutral zone. No, Cameron keeps it in. Now Slade trickles in front, and the save made. And it's picked up on the defense. And here comes McQuaid out to center ice. They'll dump it down the ice. And again, the icing is waved off. Puck goes in behind. And around the boards, Whitcup trying to come up with it. Moves it free to the blue line. Here's the shot. LaFrance holds on for the faceoff. And now a little pushing and shoving after the whistle. And now bodies are flying around, and there's going to be, I know there's going to be some penalties. And now Slade mixing it up with Goodsell. And they're both, I'm sure, going to get game misconducts.
And I think Danny Miller, along with Nick Gallagher, will both, they were the initial 2 combatants. They're going to go. Let's see if these officials are going to be generous or severe on this. I think it just rates roughing, but we'll wait and see. But I know Goodsell or Gallagher and Miller are the first 2, and Slade's coming along with that's number 15. Yeah, Goodsell. I think probably just double or minors for the 4 of them. We'll wait and see. There's only 1:27 left in this hockey game. Raiders, who had came into the probably averaging this weekend maybe a little over 6.5 minutes in penalties per game, have taken a ton here this afternoon.
This is ridiculous.
These 2 guys, and they went to that first period with 1 penalty in the whole period, and then since then it's been a parade to the penalty box.
So there's just way too many penalties in this game, and it really, as you said, wasn't that rough a hockey game.
19 penalties for these last 2 periods. And I think it's just maybe frustrating. I mean, I'm seeing this frustrated. They're getting scalded at 7-0, but I mean, it's I think the ebb and flow of the game with these guys stopping every time you turn around has kind of frustrated the players, and they just have exacerbated this situation a little more than it needed to be. So it's going to be a long bus trip home for the Raiders, but Coach Ed Latham and his staff, assistant coaches Mike Tremblay and Craig Sidden, will have the work cut out for them come Monday to get them ready, as you mentioned, for those big games next week, especially the one on Wednesday, which is a league game, and then